Today we're gonna conquer your EV phobia in the all-electric Toyota BZ.
I can do this. I'm doing it!
One drive can change your mind in the all-electric BZ. Toyota, let's go places.
Electricast. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Claudia Monticelli with another episode of my podcast, Let's Talk Soul. Well, today I have a guest who is speaking to us from Trinidad and Tobago. Her name is Cyndee Dhalai. Cyndee, say hello to our audience.
Hello, everyone, and thank you very much for having me.
Okay. Oh, well, it's always a pleasure to talk to someone who likes to talk about the soul. Who is Cyndee? Cyndee is a poet and a writer, and she's had a myriad of life experiences that have proven effective in aiding her to become who she is, like all of us, after all. She has played many roles in her life: a sister, a wife, a mother, a child, a teacher, a counselor, a guide, a patient, widow, writer, among other things. She was a teacher for over 25 years, specializing in special education. When we say special education, it usually is education that is geared towards special cases. Before she got seriously ill, what happened to her? Her body has many illnesses, including lupus, chronic kidney disease, anemia, and she was in a wheelchair for over 11 years. And lost 4 years of her life in a fog of flares and ill health. She flatlined. That means when you flatlined, you're linked to a machine in the hospital, and there's no more energy. There's no more heart work. She flatlined a few times and was never expected to walk or even survive. She's allergic to all medications and can't receive any treatment for her body and her illnesses. She had worked with and assisted many people with diverse issues. She's considered to be really a living miracle, living, walking miracle, and inspiration, and an enigma, a medical enigma. So she's going to talk to us about this enigma. She sees life as a miracle and magic, salt and light, goodness and beauty. And you should never let life experiences regulate or define your expectations and who you are. There's only one you in existence. Now, this is quite a mouthful. This is quite a presentation of someone who, the first question that comes to mind is, well, what did you do to deserve all that? Was much of it hereditary? Was lupus, for example, in the family? Any other kind of illness that you had, was it an inherited disease?
No, not that I know of, because nobody really heard or knew about lupus, really.
I see. Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I don't remember growing up anybody around me, like family members or anybody, in fact,
Yeah.
having lupus
Well,
or
recently,
having any sort of the illnesses that
people have become, let's say, luckier because now we know what lupus is. But nonetheless, it will completely destroy you, like like we just said. Now, what is your secret?
My secret is faith.
Faith. Okay.
Yes, because to me it's like I have been through things that, well, the doctors had told me that some of the things that happened to me when I was younger
Yes.
were signs that lupus was present. It's just we never saw it as that. Like you go
Right.
to a doctor and they'll treat just what that illness is at the time
Mm-hmm.
without, so they won't test for anything else. They'll just treat the symptoms you present them with.
Right.
So my case was that it didn't become full blown because over the years you'll get more and more things like the migraines and falling down
Of
unexpectedly,
course. Of
and the
course.
doctors didn't know why,
Yes.
and then I developed severe allergies to a lot of foods
Mm-hmm.
and medication. And
Mm-hmm.
even going out in the sun, sometimes I'll get rashes and like nobody would know why,
Yes. Well,
you
you
know.
see, Cyndee, as you're talking, I'm looking and I'm seeing um, two roads, parallel roads. The illness is on one, and when you talk about faith, you aren't born with faith. Faith is also something acquired. So, can I get to ask you, if you don't mind sharing, how did your faith and spirituality evolved at the same time as the illness or prior to that?
Actually, I grew up in a really like traditional East Indian home. And so, you were involved in a lot of traditional things and, belief in God and stuff like that, right?
You mean an
But
Eastern? Your voice cut out. You grew up in a traditional.
East Indian home, a Hindu family.
Ah, okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so, you kind of grew up in things. But what happened is, well, Trinidad and Tobago is multicultural, multi-ethnic. So you're exposed, the schools you go to, the people you have around you, while your work environment, you come across many different religions and cultures. So you kind of incorporate into yourself. And
Yes.
as I grew up, like I saw things not just restricted to like just the religion. I saw things restricted to other things. And I would sometimes when things happen at home, I would sit and I would say, well, what am I doing wrong? God, you got to show me something because I have no idea what is going wrong. And that's how I would talk to God.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, from all the things I learned growing up about, who God is, not just religion wise, but in a general way, I would always say, well, there is a divine being. And I mean, I have to start somewhere. So
Right.
when you have no one to talk to and when you don't have anyone really that would give you like some support that you wanted sometimes, we all have that fallback. We go to God.
Mm-hmm.
And but like as time evolved and time passed and I grew up and things started happening, I started turning more and more. And then especially during my illnesses, when my body got badly afflicted by all these things,
Yes.
it was like I stopped and I said, okay, there must be a reason because it happens to everybody all over the world. I am not the only person because the one question I never asked when they told me that I had all this stuff in me
Uh-huh.
and all these things, is that why me? I never asked that question. Why
Mm-hmm.
me? Because I said this happens to children. Babies are born with illnesses and stuff like that. They didn't ask for it. So there is a reason. And then I began to look at, well, what are the good things about me being ill? So, you kind of like, you learn to switch the focus from on all the things that are bad to all the things that are good. And that's something I've done my whole life in that, yes, I have to work hard for stuff, but if you have a belief that every day something good is going to happen or in some way you're going to achieve something because the fact that you just breathe, your
Right.
body doesn't know how it functions breathing.
Right.
And I started to think about all these little things, like I don't tell my body to breathe, I don't tell my heart to beat.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So there must be something that is greater than all of this.
Yes,
And
let's take I'm going to interrupt you. Let's take one step back because
yes,
I was thinking not everyone knows what lupus is. And those of you who don't have the benefit of video, since this is audio, I'm seeing Cyndee in a very dark atmosphere, and I'm wondering. I was once told that people with lupus cannot um, take any sun. Is that true?
Well, yeah, some of us, like, there are basically two types of lupus.
Yes.
One affects your skin and stuff like that. And if you go out, you get rashes and you get like reactions to the sunlight, too
Yes.
much sunlight, stuff like that.
Hmm.
And then there's the other lupus that takes place inside of your body, and
Yes.
that can affect, it's autoimmune,
Uh-huh.
and it can affect any part of your body. What it means is that you don't have much immunity against a lot of stuff,
Oh,
and
okay.
you can develop like allergies, and your organs can shut down. You can stop walking. You can have something happen to your brain. It's like your body. What it does itself is that we all know that our body contains things that help us fight infections.
Right.
Antibodies that help us fight infections.
Right.
But when you have lupus, what it does is your body is fighting your normal function. Your body is fighting you. So it's like you don't have to have a cold. You don't have to have a virus or something. Your body just attacks your normal functions.
Right. Tell me, in your case, because I've met many people with lupus, and coincidentally perhaps, but four people actually, all four of them had problems with their kidneys. Is it
Mhm.
typical to have issues with your kidneys?
You could have issues with any of your organs. It could
Uh-huh.
be your
Okay.
heart, it could be your kidney, it could be your pancreas, it could be any part of your organs can be affected. Now, if left untreated for a long time, more of your body begins to get affected. In my case, it was like because I didn't know, and it wasn't until quite 2010 that I found out that I had lupus,
Yes.
and they found out that my kidneys were affected, my heart had a problem, my body had a problem in the sense that I would walk sometimes and I'll just fall down.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I also had and they said that was neurological in that the lupus had affected even my brain to a certain extent. So
Mm-hmm.
every time like my body got seriously ill and I had to be hospitalized and I flatlined, they weren't sure how I would be when I came back
Right.
because, when you flatline, it's like you're medically dead.
Right.
So they weren't sure about the cognitive function because I already had trouble walking. So they weren't
Mm-hmm.
sure how bad the neurological damage would have been.
Mm-hmm. Did you have any kind of experience when uh, you flatlined? Any kind of uh,
Actually, yes, I
out of
did.
body
And the
experience?
first time it happened, and afterwards they tell me, well, Cindy, don't speak about it because most people don't speak about this kind of things that I said because I
Oh,
told
it's
my family. But
important. We have to
yeah,
speak about it.
the first time it happened, they were trying Plaquenil on me. Now, even though I was allergic to drugs, they said, well, okay, maybe, they didn't know the extent of how allergic I was to all medications.
Right.
So they said, okay, we'll try Plaquenil and you do it in two doses. You do one dose and then the next week you do the other dose. One. The first time they did, well, I had some reactions, but it wasn't really like so bad.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, okay, we'll come in. So I have to be like in an ICU where they can monitor me in case something happens
Right.
because they
But
knew
you
about
were in a coma state?
the second time it happened.
Okay.
I flatlined after 5 minutes. When they gave me the second tablet to
Ah.
take, I flatlined after 5 minutes. And I was out for like over 18 and a half hours and they weren't sure what was happening
Mm-hmm.
because I was like out,
In
whatever.
coma. Mm-hmm.
And during that time, like I did see everything because it's like I was in the corner of the room looking down at my
Yes.
body and seeing the doctors doing all the things they were doing, trying to resuscitate me and stuff like that. And, you know, everybody was in and out of the room. So afterwards, when I woke up, I was telling my husband and the doctors and them, where's this doctor? Because I wasn't seeing him. And they said, what doctor? And I told him the doctor's name and the
Mm-hmm.
fact that he had on his shirt, and on his shirt, he had a little tear on his pocket, and he had all his pens in his pocket, and one in the pocket had leaked and stained his shirt, and like what they were saying and stuff like that. And they're going to say, how you know that? How do I know all of these things? I said, because I saw it.
Mm-hmm.
I saw and I heard everything you all were saying. And
Right.
like Then the doctors, like, they looked at me and they said, well, Cyndee, I don't think you should tell anybody about that because most people would find it kind of strange and they would think something was kind of wrong or whatever. But I said I was up there. So then the second time it happened, my fingers and toes would, I know I was in and out of the fog of illnesses. And like every time I came back, I would be
Yes.
like here for a little while. But like I tell everybody, my body was here, but most of the times I wasn't aware what was happening to my body. Because most of the reports I have is like what my husband had told me and my children, and what I heard from the doctors, and what I read in my medical report. But like only for brief moments, like after I flatlined, would I be like in my body present,
Yes.
right? So the second time it happened, my fingers and toes were turning blue, and they said, okay, there's this drug called Novas that nobody's ever reacted to, and it's whatever, because I was losing blood circulation to the body, they said. And well, of course, after 5 minutes, I flatlined. And that time, I heard everything the young female doctor was saying, and actually felt when they put the resuscitation, when they put the pads on my chest to kind of resuscitate me and things like that. And that time I was out for like 24 and a half hours.
Mm-hmm.
They were worried. And then when I came back in my body, I did mention the female doctor had come in and she was talking. I said, yeah, I know, I heard everything that you said and stuff like that. And I was telling her exactly what she said. I said, how you know that?
Mm-hmm.
Because, and they said, well, nobody could have told me because nobody was really, people were there, but I wasn't present, like I
Right.
was in a coma.
Mm-hmm.
So it
Now,
happens.
let's see. As I introduced you, of course, I said you were a writer and a poet. And there are a number of publications. When did you start writing? Writing about these experiences?
Actually, I started writing, like I've always had things in my mind, but like I started writing poetry in 2022, August the 22nd. But I only started writing like books in 2023, December
Mm-hmm.
2023.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like, I thought was dealing with something like my husband had died in 2021 on
Ah,
Christmas Eve.
it's a shame.
And, you were going through grief and loss and everything. And I thought I was managing because I had to manage everything, right?
Yes.
And then in 2023, something happened that kind of threw me off really, really badly. And I realized that, no, I was not managing grief. I was not managing loss. I was not managing anything, and that's when I started writing. And in my book, Grief is the Price You Pay for Love, that's where I did speak a little bit about, my illnesses and stuff like that and thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I touched briefly on the experience, but I never really talked about it. But I did write a book, a manuscript about who am I? I am lost, and my soul whispered, look within.
Okay, so
And
I have
that,
here the one you just mentioned was Pieces of Me Touch My Soul.
that's a poetry book.
Sorry? It's
That's a poetry book. That's the first book I wrote, was a poetry book.
okay. And then the other is Grief is the Price You Pay for Love.
When the holidays start to feel a bit repetitive, reach for a Sprite Winter Spiced Cranberry and put your twist on tradition. A bold cranberry and winter spice flavor fusion, Sprite Winter Spiced Cranberry is a refreshing way to shake things up this sipping season. And only for a limited time. Sprite. Obey your thirst.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
I've got a puzzle here of Cyndee,
Yes.
Dhalai, and I'm trying to put the pieces together to see how it works. Okay, you do think life is a miracle and magic, and we get that. It's salt and light. Now, why salt and light?
Because what does salt do to food? Salt flavors food. And
Yes.
you know if food is, and if like sometimes you eat something and it is bland and you said this needs salt.
Mm-hmm.
So you see, life is salt and light in that you need flavor. And sometimes the flavor you get may not be the flavor that if it's too salty, that's your experiences in
Yes.
life. You know, the
Yes.
bad experiences
I'm,
in
I'm
life. So you
laughing.
have to
I'm
know how
laughing
to
because
balance.
today I
Yes.
practically ruined the soup. I too much salt felt and it was terrible.
So you see what I'm talking about? When you have too much of something, you feel as if
Yes.
everything is wrong and it isn't good and it's spoiled and it's horrible and you don't want it anymore. Well, that's your life experiences. Life is salt, but you have to
Hmm.
know how much salt you want to take into you. That's what we're talking about. Because
Hmm.
you can have a horrible life experience, and but it's how much you let it affect you.
It's how you
That
react,
adds
of
salt.
course.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes, that adds salt. And sometimes you can have a beautiful experience, but
Hmm.
you brush it off.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that's too little salt.
Yeah.
Like you just okay, that's momentarily. That was just a moment. You see, but you have to know how to balance the salt to have the salt in your life. You
Hmm.
have to not let things affect you too much when it seems overwhelming. You have to
Hmm.
look at it like I said. You have to find advantages in a bad situation. Okay, my body got ill. I was in a wheelchair. I had to leave teaching because you have to be. I was medically unfit.
Right.
Um, I was very independent. I love driving and just doing whatever I want
Oh,
to do and
and you
stuff like that.
couldn't
So
drive.
I felt confined, and my whole life was changed. It was shifted because I had kids. My husband was working. I was busy. I had a job. I was studying and things like that. And then suddenly now I was frozen. I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
So when I started recovering in 2013, I was like selfish. I would admit I was selfish in that
People become
I
selfish
wanted to
when
go
they're
back
ill. Hmm.
to what I wanted my life to go back to how it was before.
Mm.
Even though I knew the situation, I didn't want to accept that. I wanted to be able to do the things I used to do before. So what I did was, I kind of pushed myself. And even though they said, don't try to walk because if you damage yourself, we can't do anything for you because you're allergic to all medications and even anesthetic. So if you break something trying to walk, if you fall trying to, because like I could take a few steps and then my body would just give up.
Hmm.
Also, because I could take like a few more steps and for a little while, and then unexpectedly your body would just collapse because,
Yeah.
like they said, it was neurological, and they don't know how bad the lupus and the flatlining had affected
Yeah.
the
Well,
brain function.
let's say that you have company in that house of yours. I hear those dogs. Is it one or
Yeah,
more?
it's one, and that's the neighbor's dog next door keeps barking at everything.
No, I do. I do too. I have dogs nearby, not in my place, but when they want to be heard, you hear them.
They are heard, yes, very, very loudly. Anyway,
Mm.
so
Um,
like,
what I was curious about as you were talking, you lost your, well, you stopped working, you had to stop working, you had to stop driving, a lot of the things, your life changed. Um, have you ever in this period of time, let's say the last 7 years, just right before the books, have
mhm.
you ever considered um, being some form of or working as a, I don't want to say coach, that's not the word, some kind of creating a service for people who have chronic illnesses and base it on your experience. Your experience, from what I gather,
Actually,
is
I did
yes,
that.
you do.
Well, I didn't create a service, but what I did was that there were lots of people around who
Yes,
knew about it. And
yes,
like then people started calling because like they had relatives or they had like family members, like young
right.
children,
Yeah.
who got diagnosed with things like cancer or lupus or some other illness. And like that is what something I've always done, in that I've always helped people wouldn't have a trouble, whether it's illness or a relationship breakup or trouble with their children or whatever. They would always call me, and
Mm-hmm.
like I would talk to them about it, and it actually seemed to help. And like when people wanted to know how I could be so comfortable being
Yes.
ill, and I said, well, and also they would want me to talk to other people about going through a difficult situation, whether
Yes.
it's illness or whatever. And I started doing it, so people would call me, and I spent like hours talking to like young children or other people, helping them through, like if they have to go through a surgery, or if they have difficulties with their children, or if they had a relationship breakup or
Yes.
whatever, how to look at things in a new perspective.
Yeah.
And actually I did that. I was doing that up until yesterday. So
It's
and it's like it's people who just call, it's not like
yes,
I get paid
yes,
for it,
yes.
even though it's just people reach out because they
Yeah.
know I'm here, and they know confidentiality in that I don't speak to anybody
Yeah.
about other people's
It is,
business.
we are talking, you're in Trinidad and Tobago, I'm in Italy, and it is a small world. And my experience still today is that there is what Italians say, tam tam, tam tam,
Yes.
the drums, the word gets out, word of mouth, people hear what you do. And whether
Yes.
you're in Trinidad, whether you're in Russia, whether you're China, and it's not necessary to do much for people to understand what you do. And usually people come to you who need you, and you need them for a reason. This attraction, the way things come to you. What about what's next, Cyndee?
Just one thing I want to add to what you're saying.
Good.
Nature has balance, and that you think you are helping people who
Yes.
come to you, but you are also fulfilling a need in yourself.
Yes.
You need to give support. You
Right.
need to give service. You need to share something that you have in you. So
Yes.
it's not as if people are just coming and taking from you.
Yes.
Because a lot sometimes that's what most people feel sometimes, like this person always calling me. I'm always the one people have to think, I mean, sometimes I get tired,
Yes.
and that's the mindset we have, I don't want to listen to my friend complain one more time again,
Right.
because you think they're pulling things from you, but they're not pulling things from you. What they are doing is that they are attracted to you because you have
Yes.
a, a support that they need, right?
Yes.
And in the same token, they choose you
Yeah.
because you have a desire in you to support. And
Yeah.
that, so there's always a balance in nature,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? You cannot have good without bad. You cannot have light without dark.
Right.
The same
Right.
way,
Right.
there are people who are needy who come to you because,
Yes.
not because you're a giver or because they want to take advantage of you.
Hmm.
People come to you
My dogs.
because
Can you hear them? The outside.
they come to you because you possess something
Yes.
that you have in you that can help. And
Yes.
that's the point of having some things in you, in that we all have gifts in us to
Yes. So
share with others.
So, Cyndee, my question about what's next really is a non-question, because the way we have been reasoning so far is that things will come to you, or you will go find them when it's necessary. I find this as a double-edged sword. There's that expression in English, double-edged sword. On the one hand, it invites you to just sit and wait until something comes your way. And then on the other hand, it is indeed, that's the way it works. So not all people are graced with a sense of spirituality or a teaching that they had of the spiritual concepts as you or those who do this kind of work. I'm wondering if, nonetheless, you have in mind a project for the future for yourself?
Actually, I am continue writing and stuff like that and thing.
Uh-huh.
And I do like, because like I mentioned, I did write a book called Who Am I? I Am
Yeah.
Lost, and
Ah,
my soul said,
yeah.
and my soul whispered, look within. So I am looking at continue writing, and also I am also looking at reaching out, because I have gotten some like feedback about coaching, and not
Yes.
really coaching. I don't like the word
Yes.
coaching,
I
but
don't
that
like the word
too.
as well. Hmm.
Yeah, it's not really coaching. What it is guiding, I guess. But I
Yeah.
don't want to be seen in this. You know how people said they're a spiritual guide. I don't think myself qualified to be like a spiritual guide or whatever.
Hmm.
So I just want to put like a support for people who want to find a new perspective in life, because that's what we really need. You see, you don't need to really
Yes.
change everything about you. What you need to do is just learn to look at life through new eyes. And that's what I tell everybody. You have to look at life through new eyes. Yes, it may be raining, but don't you know that the sun comes out after it rains?
Yeah.
You know sometime the rain is gonna stop, right?
Yeah.
So that's how you have to look at things. You have to look at the advantages in a bad situation. Yes, you had a breakup, but what are the advantages of that breakup? Maybe you deserve better. Maybe you needed space to find yourself. Maybe it was a time for you to grow as a
Yeah.
person and
Yeah.
learn to exist first as yourself and love
Yeah.
yourself for who you are before you can give it to somebody else. Maybe it was felt that you had to expand yourself, or you were growing, and this person was no longer capable of fitting into where you were going. So you
Yeah.
see, you can find advantages in every bad situation. You just have to know how to open your eyes.
Yeah. I do have all of your information, of course, that I will write under the episode's description. But if I understand correctly, your website is www.faialian.com.
Yeah, that's the book.
Faialian.com. Okay. Um, is there, at the end, okay, is there one message that you would like to leave our listeners with before we go?
Things come in life and things go in life. Bad things happen, good things happen. But life is all about balance. And like I said, it's how we choose to look at life. What eyes do we want to see life through? Do we want to see it through our own eyes, or do we want to see it through the eyes of everything that is pressing around us? You see, you have to realize that there's only one you.
Yeah.
There is nobody else like you in the world, and you are not a clone, you are not a carbon copy of anybody. And yes, you can learn to take experiences and take what you get from other people and put it together. But
Yeah.
ultimately comes down to, you have to be happy in who you are as a person.
Yeah. My husband would say, if I said there is only one me, he would say, thank God. what would the world be with more like you?
Actually, that's what my friends say. They said they are so happy because I would tell them a story. I said, when the angels were creating me, when I was being cast into the mold, I think one of my guardian angels was drunk because they put chaos into the mix instead of putting compassion. So I said, and they said, okay, you know what? I think the world needs a little bit more chaos and somebody who can, somebody who will just make everybody stop and think. And they put that inside me. And they say, yeah, they believe that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of
Oh,
like,
Cyndee, thank you so much for this wonderful talk. I'm going to go through all of your information. I'm going to look for your books, and
yeah.
we'll meet again. We'll have another
Yes,
talk in the
yes.
future. You take care of yourself, and thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
It was very nice. Thank you.
Bye bye, Cyndee.
Bye bye.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to follow Let's Talk Soul podcast on Instagram. Let's Talk Soul podcast is a production of Electricast Media. Our executive producers are Mark Netter and Peter Rafelson. If you like our show and like what you hear, please subscribe and give us a rating wherever you enjoy podcasts. And remember, stay curious, stay inspired, and never stop exploring the depths of your soul.
You deserve better healthcare, and so do we all. Medicine in America is a podcast that shares real stories of patients and doctors reshaping the future, because the revolution in care isn't coming, it's already here. Real stories, real change, a better future for healthcare.
Electric acid.